because this is a felony conviction. You're not allowed to own weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what that is, you need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? Carmona and Mr. Featherston, who do you have? All right, why don't you just let them know and they'll pull the file and I'll take it up. Okay, just let me take this up, then I'll take yours up. All right. Court is calling 2024 CR 1048 State versus Jose Carmona. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state, for the defense?
Bernard Campion for Mr. Carmona, Your Honor.
And are you Mr. Carmona? All right, you entered a plea of guilty on August 19th. The court found there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. You applied for deferred adjudication and community supervision. According to your plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 8 years in the prison. There's a $1,000 fine. The state is silent on your application. And this is to run concurrent with 732605. Just one moment. There it is. All right, counsel, have you had a chance to review the PSI report?
We have, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Um,
State, did you have a chance to review the PSI report? Any objection? All right, the state is silent. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
We do have a witness, Your Honor, and then, of course, would like to call Mr. Carmona briefly, but first would like Gracie Castanuela.
All right, Ms. Costanuela, and you'll need to be standing over there. All right, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that the court reporter can hear. What I've discovered when attorneys are before me and they start asking questions, usually the witness will turn here and turn their back to the court reporter, and it makes it difficult for the court reporter. So remember not to do that. And if you'll state your name for the record. All right, can you spell that, please?
GRACIE.
All right, defense.
Thank you. Ms. Castanuela, how old are you now? And can you tell me your
All right,
relation?
let's do this because you all have already started turning your back. Just
Oh.
ease over that way. I can hear you because this is my good ear, and just turn towards the court reporter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you briefly tell us your relationship with Armando Carmona, Jose Armando Carmona? And you said
I'm
your
sorry, what did
sister,
you say?
Sister.
if you could
Okay.
speak up just a little bit, to your family circumstances, have you had and do you have regular contact with your brother? It's Jose Armando, but he goes by Armando, is that right? And can you briefly describe for us his circumstances involving his children, how many children he has and their circumstances?
He has 3 children. I believe that they're 13 and 12.
So it's 3 minor children.
Yes.
Now he has one older daughter by a
Yeah.
prior marriage, correct?
Yeah.
And all of his, has he been active and supportive in the lives of his children?
Yes. Very.
In fact, he has done his best to try to guide them and steer them and to really help them learn from his mistakes.
Yes.
His oldest daughter, Brianna, is been accepted to nursing school at UT Health Science Center.
Yes. I believe she graduates this coming year.
So she's got 1 more year left in nursing school.
Yes.
His other 3 minor children. Well, first, the mother of those children, she is deceased, is that right?
Yes. Sir.
Do you know what type of illness or disease that caused her passing?
I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a hereditary blood disease.
So she was very young, but she's been deceased now for several years, correct? And with her passing from that medical condition, has the primary responsibility for the upbringing and financial support of his children fallen on Armando?
Yes. But the kids are staying with their parents.
I'm sorry, could you keep your voice up?
Yeah.
And people, could you also please whisper?
So has he provided financial support to his children? And does he still?
Yes.
And without that financial support, does it create a hardship for the family? If you could speak.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And when I say the family, we're talking about your extended family, is that right? How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 1 sister and I have 2 brothers.
And the other 2 siblings besides you and Armando, they have some significant disability and health issues, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So their ability to assist in caring for not just minor children, but also elderly parents is somewhat limited, correct?
Correct.
And speaking of which, I guess your mother and Armando's mother is somewhat, not somewhat, but disabled, is that correct?
That's correct.
In a rehab center.
Correct.
And when she is not in the rehab center, does Armando provide for and care for her?
Yes, hello.
Okay. So in fact, he was residing with her full time until she went into the rehab center, is that right? And he took care of her on a daily basis. And if is it hope that she would be out of rehab sometime soon?
Yes,
And is it the hope and desire that Armando would be able to assist and resume care of her?
yes,
Okay. And so we're not talking about just financial, we're talking about the actual physical care too.
yes,
And in terms of the care, he has always maintained employment, is that right?
yes.
And have you ever noticed any extravagant spending on himself or
No.
is
No.
basically, other than his essential needs, everything he earns goes for the support of his children and family, is that right?
Correct.
And he's still employed at this time.
Yes, yes,
And you're employed as well, correct?
yes.
Where do you work?
At the Toyota.
And you have a full-time shift at Toyota.
Yes,
And I assume you have minor children as well.
I do.
So, so in Armando's absence, there's a tremendous hardship on primarily his children, is that right?
Yes.
And as part, in terms of their upbringing and lives, have you seen Armando to be active in their lives, not just providing financial support, but on a day-to-day basis?
Yes.
Or are they all good kids?
Oh.
None have
yes.
criminal records,
No, no,
and they're good students?
yes,
Do they, does he encourage them to be enrolled in extracurriculars?
yes, as for,
And he attends extracurricular events with them?
well, when he can, for the monitor.
Right. I'll pass it.
No, Gracie Castanuela.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pardon, for a moment.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, that nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record. Defense.
Yes, okay. Mr. Pomona, as you've heard with your sister, your court reporter needs to.
Okay.
So, but without showing disrespect to the court, if you could make sure that your voice is directed in this direction. I know you speak somewhat
Yes, sir.
soft.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you first, Pomona, about your pre-trial supervision on this matter. Today is October 10th of 24, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
As part of your pretrial supervision, when you were released on bond, did they install or instruct you as condition bond that you would have a monitor, electronic monitor?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what day that was installed?
October 10th, 2023.
So today is the 1-year anniversary of having the monitor, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And in the last year that you've been on bond and on monitor, has there been even one violation of any of your pretrial conditions?
No, sir.
And we've had to come to the court many times to get permission for you to attend functions for your children, whether it was admission ceremony to college or choir concerts or sporting events. We've done all that, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so to the best of your ability, given the restrictions of your monitor, have you been active in the lives of your children?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And-
that could be.
And you have how many children?
4 total, 3 minor.
Three minors. And in terms of the 3 minors, are you providing support for them,
Yes,
financial support?
yes.
Where are you working?
I'm working at Pioneer Flower Mills,
And you've been there for what, 3 months?
3 months now.
And prior to that, have you always maintained full employment?
Yes, sir.
And prior to that, was Zachary Construction?
Yes, sir.
And of course, when you had to go to different job sites, there was issues with the monitor and approval, correct?
Yes, sir. At times it was.
So the current job with Pioneer, you are allowed to stay in one spot.
Yes, sir.
So it's worked out well.
Yes.
And have you been notified that if you were provided some means by which you could remain out of custody, that not only is your job secure, but that you were in line for a promotion.
Yes, sir.
And what did they tell you would be making?
21.50 an hour.
And where does that money go?
To my family, my children, some to myself, of course, but mainly to my children.
Other than your immediate, your essential needs, just or just the essentials of life, do you basically provide the entirety of the support for your children?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they're not going to just disintegrate in your absence, but it's certainly going to be a hardship on not just your family, but primarily your children.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you about your circumstances in that regard. Your wife, the mother of the children, Stephanie Carmona, was diagnosed with a serious blood illness.
Oh. HHT.
Okay, and she passed away. And do you know whether any of your children have been diagnosed with that disease?
All three of them have it.
So they're doing well physically now, but there's
No.
medical issues that have to be dealt with as well.
Yes. Well, my 12-year-old is
And in fact, has your daughter already had surgery or more? One or
Three
more
of them.
Three surgeries?
yes.
And so they are the focus of your life, is that right? In addition to your children, have you and would you continue to provide care for your elderly mother?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And in fact, you lived with her until she went into the rehab.
Yes, sir.
If she gets out of rehab, she would be living with you,
Yes.
is that right? And you'd be basically responsible for her day-to-day care.
Yes, sir.
And your work schedule is such that you put in a full day, but the shifts kind of vary, so you would have time to do that.
Yes, sir.
And your children that you have basically tried to raise as best you can, they're all doing well, is that right?
Yes, sir.
They're all productive.
Sure.
None of them have criminal records.
No.
You've tried to teach them from your mistakes.
Yes, sir.
And have you encouraged them into extracurricular activities?
Yes, my two middle ones have it.
Is your daughter in choir,
Yes, and volleyball also.
volleyball, and your son's in basketball, football?
Right now he's in football.
And not only do you encourage them in a positive direction, you support them in terms of attending events and providing assistance in terms of the financial needs to participate in those activities.
Yes, sir.
No question, you've made a lot of mistakes in your life.
Yes, sir.
Is there any question in your mind that if given the opportunity, you could adhere to any terms and conditions that this court might set for supervision?
I know it too.
And for the last year plus, there's not been one dirty UA, correct?
And the violation.
And they've tested you at work as well.
Yes, sir.
And so you are completely sober and drug free,
Yes, sir.
and no question in your mind, you can remain that way.
Yes, sir.
And even the strictest of conditions, you will abide by.
Yes, sir.
I'll pass it.
Any questions? All right, I have a few. So the marijuana that was in your car, you said that you had loaned your vehicle to someone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was that? David what?
David.
All right, and then this person you bought the weapon from, who was that?
I don't know personally.
Well, no, it says here, you bought the gun from a man that said he was associated with the military. So who is this friend who gave you information for this person?
I used to work with him downtown. That's what I got introduced to this man like him.
So who is he?
The
What's
man
his
that
name?
left him.
No, the friend.
Nobody to work with? No, Ryan.
Hmm?
The name of Ryan.
Ryan what?
I'm not sure I know his last name.
But this is your friend.
Well, not, it was just an acquaintance from work. I used to work at the Riverwalk downtown.
So let me just tell you what my problem is with your application.
This one.
You're habitual, that was waived. One of your cases that was waived, and it's in the PSI, is assault family with previous conviction. Who is the complainant in that case?
What cases? I believe it's all.
No.
Oh, it's my wife, my deceased wife.
All right. And then you have an assault bodily injury from 1997. And then you had an assault bodily injury from 1999. And then you have an assault bodily injury married from 2013. And I'm assuming that's the wife who's deceased. Then you had a possession case that was reduced and you were placed on probation and it was revoked because you didn't successfully complete it. Then, and that was in 2006. Then 2013, you had another possession case. You were given deferred adjudication for. You didn't successfully complete it. You were revoked. And then you had an assault family second offense. And I'm assuming that's against your deceased wife as well. And you were given probation for that and you were revoked and you didn't successfully complete it. And the ag assault with a deadly weapon, that was dismissed for missing witness. I'm not even going to consider that. And then now we have the felon in possession of a weapon. And what you state in your version of events, and if they put it down incorrectly, let me know. You state, the defendant states he was aware he was not to have a gun, but wanted one as his son-in-law had bought one. Is that the case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there anything else?
Maybe just a brief argument about this.
Yes.
Judge, as you pointed out, very thoroughly, you've got every reason in the world to deny his application. His record speaks for itself, and it is what it is. But despite the fact, there's no question about that. But as you've also noted, most of those circumstances are somewhat, some of them are way in the past, some of them are remotely, are somewhat remotely in the past. But what I think, and there's no question that 15 years ago or so, he had a serious drug problem that caused a lot of issues in his life. He has addressed that in meaningful ways. He did go to treatment. And over time, I think it took effect, and he has been clean and sober now for a number of years. I think that addresses many of the historical issues that present themselves in his case. The fact that he has been on such strict bond conditions for a calendar year, a full calendar year, and it started off with complete lockdown. We were able to finally get that transitioned to partial so that he could resume work. And he, in essence, has proven himself. I think that a year of what he has been through without a single violation, I am hard pressed to think of a man in his circumstances that has performed as well on pretrial supervision as he has. So, and it hasn't been for just a week or a month. It's been for a full calendar year. So I think the track record he has established since his arrest on this case has established that he's capable and willing to not just comply, but satisfy each and every term of condition the court might impose, no matter how strict. The question is, does his record allow him the opportunity to do that? That's what we're imploring the court to kind of look at the big picture. And when you factor in the circumstances, the family circumstances that are created, and with his absence, the hardship that it creates on the children, and the fact that he has proven himself so much for the last year, we're just imploring that the court consider some form or fashion of conditions and combination of conditions that would satisfy all concerned. Certainly, on paper, he doesn't deserve another chance. Given his performance over the last year and how he's proven himself, we're imploring the court to consider some combination of conditions, as strict as they might be, that would allow him the opportunity to continue to prove himself.
All right, thank you. All right, I want you to know that I would listen to your attorney's arguments. I've listened to the witnesses that have been called, and I always internalize everything that's told to me. And I always reread the stipulations and make sure that I read the TAP evaluation. Here's the court's issue. The issue is that according to your versions of event, you knew you're not supposed to have a weapon. It's the law. You're not supposed to have a weapon. If people don't like that as a law, they need to change it. And according to your version of events, you wanted a weapon because your son-in-law had one. And then you went through back channels because you knew, according to your versions of events, that no one would sell you one. And it's not as though you're a teenager and you're not considering or internalizing the consequences of your action. That's a problem for the court. I don't think that you're a good candidate for probation. I'm going to find you guilty. This we're going to run concurrent with 732-605. I'll give you credit for any time served. There's $1,000 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. I do acknowledge the fact that you've done great on GPS and you've done everything well. Your punishment is set at a cap of 8 years. And based upon how you've been since you've been on GPS, I'm going to sentence him to the 3 years. All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes.
All right. Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what that is, you need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. With your history, I know sometimes people will say, oh, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. With your history, you're going to have to ask for permission every time. And you know you're not allowed to have weapons, so you can't have weapon. And then, as you know, when they arrested you, they saw that you had a warrant, and that was for another incident that was dismissed because of a missing witness. And your attorney will talk to you about that, about statute of limitations and all that entails. All right, I wish you nothing but the best. I know that being locked up, that's a lot of time. Anytime, a day at the prison, a day at the Bexar County Jail is a lot of time because you don't have your freedom. But at the end of the day, you can still get out and do better. And your children will be still waiting for you. You understand?
Yeah.
All right, good luck to you. And thank you. I know, I remember you. I know you always dressed appropriately for court, and I want you to know I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
How much time our individual has in on the case? Elisa Hernandez on the drug case.
Abdi, is he out? All right, everyone, I'm sorry, just give me 2 minutes. Everyone, just give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Hey, Lorraine.
Hi, Judge. I'm waiting, Bob. I think Bob Featherston's on your docket, my colleague,
Mhm.
and my client Joaquin Mendez is on
Mhm.
your docket.
Yes,
So
and he's not here. Is he in custody?
he's in federal custody,
Okay.
but an issue arose in our attorney-client relationship that I have now been, I had to ask for removal from the federal case.
Mhm.
So fortuitously, Bob got appointed on the federal case. So we're hoping maybe you won't mind putting Bob on the state cases too. And it will be pretty seamless because I can get it all to him, and I already have an offer, and
All right, if you'll make sure that he's here. Is he coming in today?
Bob is, yeah, I'll text him right now.
All right, thank you.
Very hard to salvage that situation.
Sometimes you can only do what you can do. All right. Who's the prosecutor on Joshua Johnson? I do not know. Who were you conferring with, counselor?
Daniel Escobar was the one DA that finally responded back to me on the email.
All right, well, we're not going to say finally responded back.
Apologize.
We're going to say that that's the prosecutor who responded.
Floor is not here, Your Honor.
All right. So defense, have you received all of the discovery?
As far as I know, I have, Your Honor. The only thing I've not been able to do is speak with the complaining witness. He said that he was going to, the complaining witness told me he wanted to speak to the DA before he spoke to me. I haven't heard word if I'm going to get that interview or not, but that's the only other discovery I need to complete in the matter. Mr. Escobar wrote me saying that he's reviewing the file. He would get with me regarding any pleas and that issue with the complaining witness.
All right. So, all right. Thank you. And Mr. Johnson, thank you for dressing appropriately for court, even though you're on Zoom. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes people think Zoom isn't court.
Oh, it's the same setting.
Yeah. Deputy Laura, could you bring out their client, McIntyre? And Council Odyssey sometimes is just a little slow.
No problem. I have one other issue with Mr. Johnson with the GPS monitor I wanted to discuss with Your Honor too.
What is the issue with the GPS?
He has been working very hard and he did get a job offer in Waller, Texas, which is about 30 to 45 minutes away from his home in a manufacturing factory type of setting. He would start training this upcoming Monday. Typically, I would just put the address and what his hours are going to be, but it's a factory and they're going to do like a 12-hour swing shift, like 4 days a week. So I did not know how Your Honor wanted to manage that type of work schedule, if it's just an order that says he works with his monitoring officer, or if we need to submit work schedules in advance. But it seems that he's going to be doing day shift training. How long, Joshua? For a week or 2 weeks?
2 days.
Oh, 2 days of training. Okay.
All right, so Council, if you'll put in the chat box
Mhm.
the address of the location where he will be working,
Yep.
that will probably make it easier for pretrial services.
Okay. I'll do that right now.
So what will end up happening, I'll tell them that you're allowed to be at that specific location, Mr. Johnson, for work. So it'll pop up on GPS that you're at that location. So you'll be allowed to work there and go through your training. If they end up moving you somewhere else in the city or the job takes you somewhere else, just let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Escobar is here.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, were you able to speak with the complainant?
I was, sir.
All right. And are you able to tender an offer off docket?
Yes, Judge, I'll.
All right, and then I'm going to allow him to work. He has employment now. If there is an issue with pretrial services on his ability to work, state, would you be okay with tracking and then just maybe give an exclusion zone for the complainant?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Johnson, I don't want you to miss your work. So just go to work, and counsel, if there's an issue with pretrial services, what I can tell you is violation reports come to me if there's a violation. And I usually have people come into court to address those violation issues before I sign it.
Awesome.
But Mr. Johnson, let them know that you have permission, your pretrial services officer. Let them know that you have permission to work. And what is your pretrial services officer name?
Officer Mendez,
What's the first name?
I do not have that information.
All right. Counsel, do you know his pretrial services officer name?
Let me look. I know I sent an email before. Let me see.
And I'm going to set you guys for November 21st, and that will be a plea deadline. And Mr. Johnson, if you have to work, you can appear by Zoom. And if there's an agreement made, we'll set it on a day for you all to do the plea.
Yes, Judge.
All right.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
No, I'm trying to find the officer's name too, Your Honor. I'm not seeing it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Johnson, you're excused, and I will get the information from your attorney, and I'll send them an email if there's no objection to the parties of me emailing pretrial services.
No objection from me, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too. Just give me a moment. Deputy Laura, Odyssey is so slow today.
Oh, Judge. When has it been faster?
Yeah, you got a point.
Oh, else let's just restart the whole. That's been our trick.
All right. Are the parties ready on McIntyre? All right. You're welcome. Good morning. So if you all want to put this on the record, we can. If not, we don't have to.
Depends on what you're gonna do.
All right. So
And I
I had a-
apologize, I had 6 hours of oral surgery yesterday,
oh my gosh.
and it makes everything. You wouldn't think an 80-year-old would get teeth that are gonna last for another century, but that's what they did.
Well, you know what my doctor told my family members and told me, They said everything on your body is supposed to be able to last. So
Well,
they're supposed to last.
mine didn't. We go off the record. We're not.
Oh, we're not-
We're gonna go to R.C. Buford's house for dinner, and I looked at my wife, vain as I am, and I said, does my hair look all right? She said, shit, you forgot your teeth. You've got to be 80 years old to understand that's something that,
Well, you know what? They did an excellent job because you can't tell.
well, it hurts to smile. And there's still this lisp that is caused by there's a bridge that'll be there until December or something.
It adds to your charm, Jerry. Don't worry.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
We're
so
ready.
On this case, we had a discussion and it wasn't ex parte, it was by phone.
Yes, sir.
So normally in this case, I wouldn't be giving you all a reset, not for vacations or for the state not having a witness. However, the state subpoenaed a witness, had them bench warrant it, and they did it in a timely fashion. They didn't do it last minute. Bear County has no money to bring that person here until the 31st. And I spoke to y'all by phone, and my understanding, neither party had an objection to continuance. You have your trip you have to go on.
Yes, sir.
So I don't think it would be fair to place this continuance on either the state or the defense.
I don't mind begging for it if it has to be on me. The state, and we both, I think all of us appreciate it. We are going to probably have to try this case, and I think all of us would like some time. This expert witness that we've got, we are going to need an order from the court to allow him to review and conduct testing on the ballistic testing on the weapon that the state located, I believe, on August 20th.
Yes,
16th or 20th.
I don't know if you received that motion.
No, let me see if they put it in the file for me.
And I do appreciate, Judge, neither side is really at fault for this. But I think that what's contained in there probably needs to be addressed.
I've highlighted
Thank
a
you.
copy here.
I will tell you, Odyssey and e-filing. All right, so I see what your issue is in your motion for continuance. But again, as I said, I'm not going to put the motion for continuance on either party. We're just going to do a different date. But I will tell you both, this case is going to be tried before the new year. All right? So then the issue with regards to anything that I need to sign as it relates for testing, do y'all have a motion for that or no?
We will have it here within a matter of hours. I dictated it this morning. Our expert, as the motion provides, says that it's going to take him 40 to 60 days to conduct the examination, be able to testify.
The issue being that while he's very skilled and has worked previously in law enforcement doing ballistics testing, he presently doesn't have a laboratory to do that. So he's going to have to subcontract another laboratory to be able to take the gun and do the testing there.
His name, I believe, is
Ed Huskey.
Huskey, Hueske.
Well, is there any way that he can do it at the state lab? And
I don't know if they would allow that, Judge.
Yeah.
That's something I could ask.
yeah,
of
so
course,
I mean,
but I don't know.
let's pick up the phone and ask. Maybe that will be quicker.
I'll
Because
be
for-
happy to ask.
For the courts, science is science, right?
Right.
If people are allowed to do their testing, and of course, if you do it through the state's expert's office or lab, I don't think your expert has to say anything to them. More likely than not, they may not allow that, but at least that's an option to consider.
And we ought to consider giving him that opportunity if we're going to pick a date certain. That way we don't have any issues.
Oh, we're gonna pick a date certain.
All right, if we could put it off until mid-December, at least, that way we're gonna do it before the first of the year. I believe I have a speech to the Florida Bar on the 14th and 15th of December, but other than that, I'm clear in December.
Judge, just,
Like, how long are y'all expecting this trial to last?
I expect 2 weeks.
I think
And Judge.
2 weeks will be ample.
I'm assuming you're looking for like December 9th or 10th, somewhere in there, because that's the dates.
I'm looking at December. Well, we can't do it December 2nd because that's RC Curtis.
The following week, Judge, we do have I think one murder and two intox manslaughters. And then some other higher profile cases, but of course, those would have to be pushed. I just want to make sure you're aware of that.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna set this for December 2nd. And I'm gonna see where everybody is with their expert. So you all need to get on the ball. I know it's late as far as you're knowing that you need an expert for this specific issue. But I'm gonna set you all for December 2nd. We're gonna come back here and see where we are.
That's fine, and I will get you the motion so that we can get that rolling today.
And
Where's
just-
Quincy MD when you need him? Quincy would have
Oh, that was
already
great.
done this.
That was great. One thing else is that I just.
We got Husky, that's close.
I
Sorry.
just want to make sure that I'm assuming that y'all obviously want the weapon that was gained as evidence up in Dallas. We should have that here still.
That's
But
correct.
you will also like the shell casing that was brought into.
Absolutely, he needs to do
So
the
we just gotta
comparison.
make sure that that's in the motion with the item number.
We will put both of those in the motion.
Good.
All right, so
Thank
the
you, Counselor.
case that's being tried is the 2019 case, correct?
And Judge, if that's the capital murder.
Yes.
That
Yes.
would be correct.
All right, so we're gonna go on the record with this. Court is calling 2019 CR 12495 State versus Tamar McIntyre. If I can have all parties announced for the record, state,
Jason Garahan for the state, Your Honor.
defense.
Jerry Goldstein and John Hunter for the defense, Your Honor. We're ready to proceed.
All right,
On
and
the
are you,
motion for continuance.
all right, and are you Mr. McIntyre?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so off the record, both parties agreed that neither party should be charged with the motion for continuance. The issues are the state timely requested that a witness be present. However, due to county funding, they're not going to be able to pay for transportation until October 31st, correct, state?
That is correct.
And then the defense, there was a weapon that you wanted tested.
That's correct, Your Honor. It appears that it belonged to a co-defendant that was at the scene.
All right. And it's the court's understanding that this wasn't something that y'all learned about months ago and you're just now bringing it up. Am I
No.
correct?
That's correct, Your
We
Honor. That-
discovered it in August and made the parties in the court aware of the issue and
And the state
scrambling to try and get it tested.
state diligently exercised diligence in looking for the weapon. They did discover it. They did have it ballistically tested, and they have advised us, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, of their results, and we have asked that we be permitted to have an opportunity to have an independent examination by the defense expert.
All right. And your expert can't test it right away because he has no laboratory currently.
That-
Correct. We have to get the gun from the police. We have to get it to a laboratory and there's just a logistical bottleneck.
All right. And off record, we're still on the record, but off the record, the state informed the court that they would see if the state's laboratory would allow him to do testing. More likely than not, that may not happen, but that may speed things along.
We appreciate that, Your Honor, and we
I'll
appreciate
check with
counsel.
Mr. Huskey to make sure that that's, satisfactory to his method, but I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be based on what we know now.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing from the state, no.
Nothing on behalf of the defense.
Any other discovery?
No, Your Honor, we have had an e-discovery problem now for several months, which Jason and I have talked about over and over and over again, and they've given me another terabyte hard drive full of all the materials that I think were produced since our discovery compliance hearing, which namely pertain to written correspondence of the defendant's jail correspondence. And we're still going through all of that. There's a lot of it, but I don't think most of it is relevant to the case. And Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that there's a plan to be introducing much of it, if any.
That's correct. I mean, it's voluminous, it's a jail mail, Judge. And then also, there is additional stuff that may be filed. And so I don't know if y'all still have access or not, because I've talked to the paralegals on it. I think we have it hashed out. I think we have it put away, Judge. But, I think that everything's been sent over. No, I don't think. I know everything's been sent over now with a terabyte drive. But then I will also contact defense counsel if any additional evidence or anything else is uploaded.
If they do, we may be addressing it with the court, but I presume we're just talking about mail.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And I'm also sympathetic. I know that the way y'all's office runs things, sometimes when there's a disclosure of a new piece of evidence, even if it's a scrap of paper, we sometimes get notification about a ton of stuff, most of which we already have, that creates this. That's no one's fault. And I think that as far as we're concerned, apart from us learning back in August about this pistol, I think the discovery in this case was mostly buttoned up years ago.
All right, so this is what, okay, and people say years ago, this case has not been in this court years ago.
It just got transferred.
We
It
moved,
got transferred last year.
yeah, it got
So
transferred.
it was over in juvenile, it was over in
Yes.
juvenile for years. And then, of course, this case, because of the legal issues this individual has had in other counties, finished up there, and that's why it was brought down here and then transferred to the court for his adult status.
And we came with it.
Okay. All right, so then instead of the December 2nd date, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you all for November 21st. And that on that day, I'm going to expect everybody to be prepared to sign an acknowledgement for discovery.
Yes, sir.
And if there is an issue with some discovery, that needs to be addressed at that point.
Yes, sir.
And that's November 21st, Joe?
Yes. All right. And do you want Mr. McIntyre present, or Mr. McIntyre, do you want to be present? Because that's on that day, it's going to be whether or not your attorneys have all of this discovery. I will tell you, Thursdays are usually heavy dockets for us. If there's an issue where they don't have something and they think they should have, then that will be addressed on December 2nd, and you can be here for that. So it's completely up to defense and you. If you want to be here on November 21st, we'll have you brought over.
No, ma'am. No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So November 21st, just so we're clear, that's for state and defense to make a determination if you have all of the discovery. If you do, you'll sign the discovery of acknowledgement.
Yes.
And then Mr. McIntyre, we will bring you back on December 2nd. So the only thing that will be happening is really in your attorney's purview. Do they have all the discovery or not? If they say they don't, then we'll address it on December 2nd. But most definitely, you will be here on December 2nd, because that's the day we'll see where we are with trial.
We will have a motion to Your Honor today on the production of the weapon and casing.
All right. And then, Mr. McIntyre, we can go off the record for trial, and I know your attorneys know this. You will be brought over dressed in whatever civilian clothing you have at the jail. If you wish to be attired in something different, you'll have to do a clothing exchange. And sometimes attorneys will tell me there's an issue with the clothing exchange. If there is, let the court know and we'll see if we can help expedite that.
Definitely.
To that point, Your Honor, I was going to ask, this offense happened some time ago, and McIntyre has been measured for nice clothing in a long time. We wanted to go about getting him measured so that we can get him clothing that fits for the
Who
trial.
will
But I
be
didn't know-
measuring him?
I wanted to just ask Your Honor how you wanted us to address that.
No, I mean, it depends on who's measuring him.
I assume it will be a tailor from some retail shop that is gonna
Deputy
size
Laura,
him.
let me ask you this. They don't know what size he wears. So if possible, I'm assuming a tailor, all they need is a measuring tape.
That's correct.
Will we be able to
And a
have,
pad to write it down.
and a pad to write it down? Will we be able to bring him over and they can measure him? So, coordinate with the deputies. They'll have him brought over and make sure the tailor person is here and they'll be allowed to measure him.
We appreciate that. Thank you for the cooperation.
Thank you, Judge.
Is there anything else?
No,
All right, and just coordinate with a day with Deputy Laura, maybe where we don't have a big docket or don't have a docket. And she'll work with you on that.
Be happy to do that.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else?
Nothing on behalf of the defense. May we be excused?
All right, well, any questions, Mr. McIntyre?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
I did have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I talk? Is there any way I
Yeah.
can, like, stay
Oh,
on-
sure. They need to speak to him some more. Hello. All right, so today is plea deadline date.
And Judge, we're still in negotiations. I threw a counter offer back to the state. They said they have to run it by the family, so we can buy another week or so.
Recall this case for next Thursday. It is a time offer. If we were going to pay, we were going to offer what defense requesting. I also need to get with the family to see if they would be willing to give you
Okay. All right, and if they can't be present in court, we can always do it by Zoom.
Yes, because it is a time offer, is the court going to require a PSI?
No, PSI is not necessary with the time offer
Given the nature
or
of-
legally required.
Yeah, I just wanted to make.
All right, so then what I'll do is I'll recall this for October,
16th, 17th, 18th.
we can put it on October 17th.
That's Thursday. Right?
Yes. Are you okay with Thursday?
Yeah,
Or
I'm just
either I
trying
can
to,
do it
I know tax day is Tuesday, so then after
Yeah,
that,
or I
I
can
don't
do it
care.
on the, or either I can do it on the 16th.
No, Thursday's fine,
Yeah.
it's 17th.
Oh, yeah, I
No?
know.
17th?
Yes.
All right, Judge.